Hi, Bruce Miller here. Welcome to our first video presentation of 2013. You know, we went off the fiscal cliff, and yet here we are. It wasn't very long, and it wasn't very far, but we did go off the cliff. And on January 1st, the House Republicans voted to finally reconcile the issues of the fiscal cliff, at least a portion of them. They were painted into a very uncomfortable corner. In fact, they were trapped by the Obama administration into passing legislation that they just did not like. They ranted and raved about it, but in the end, they passed it. And I thought I'd go over some of the items that happened and some that didn't happen to try to show what will happen economically in 2013. First of all, one thing that did not happen was the payroll tax holiday was not extended. In essence, that means that every wage earner in 2013 will see a 2% decrease in their paychecks. The second thing that didn't happen is the budget cuts that were to have happened. They were kicked down the road for a couple of months, which means it's still an issue that we'll have to grapple with in 2013, probably late February or early March. The tax rates, well, the Bush tax cuts were extended for all except the ultra-wealthy. The ultra-wealthy being those making over $400,000 as a single person or $450,000 as a married couple. Yes, the Republicans got burned on this one, and it may not bode too well for future negotiations that will occur. But what about beyond the cliff? There was so much drama to it, you kind of forget what's happening in spite of the cliff. And what we saw were generally good economic reports. Real estate is rebounding, industrial output is coming back. Internationally, things look quite well. In China, imports were up 14% over what they were a year ago. And in Europe, even though they're continually mired in recession, they are showing a little bit of economic improvement. So what do we see going forward? What are some of the opportunities? What are some of the problems we face as we look in 2013? Well, generally, in spite of the good economic news, we're seeing GDP forecasts go down a bit. Not only globally, where we just saw a reduction of 2.9 to 2.4%, but domestically, where we're seeing estimates as low as 1% or below. And in spite of current reports, it looks like the economic recovery is maybe starting to stagnate just a little bit. There are several key issues that we need to look at in the current year that may cause some problems. One is that the debt ceiling debate will take hold again. In fact, we've already hit the debt ceiling for the year. If you recall, in 2011, there was a tremendous amount of market volatility as we were debating the debt ceiling. It was not uncommon to see the market up 300 or 400 points in a day. And we might see that type of volatility again if the Washington politicians cannot get their house in order on this particular issue. And again, the budget cuts, they were kicked down the road for a couple of months, but there's no doubt that budget cuts have to be made. They'll be made in defense, and they'll be made in entitlements as well. And so we may see a dent in the defense industry and possibly a bit of a problem in the economy as we reduce those entitlements and see consumption decrease as well. Another significant issue that we might see is that the Federal Reserve has indicated that they will stop buying mortgage-backed securities in 2013. They're not sure when, but it's likely to happen. And what that means to you is that these artificially low mortgage interest rates that we're seeing, as low as 3.25% on a 30% mortgage, are likely to increase as that stimulus is removed. But there are some continuing opportunities as well. One is the continued low interest rate structure that we're seeing. Business rates as low as 3% on bonds. It's pretty incredible, and what it is doing is stimulating the global economy in a fairly large way. We're seeing a rebound in real estate, a rebound in construction, and that's very good for the economy. And another thing we're seeing is a reinvigoration of the U.S. energy industry, primarily from the fracking of the oil that's occurring in the upper Midwest. And many energy analysts are indicating that it's likely that we may become energy independent in the future as a result of all the new oil finds that have occurred. And this could be a very, very good thing for our economy. So, as always, there's a tremendous amount to digest, a lot of roadblocks that we need to overcome. But what I see is a very good economic base being set, from which we may see a growth spurt forward. And of course, that is all contingent upon Washington politics and whether they will derail the good things that have occurred up to this point. In the meantime, Ben, let's go make some money.